Hello everyone, am I audible?
Yes, you are.
Thank you. Good evening, dear participants. So, welcome to the Day-04 session of the 5 days faculty development program on research methodology organized by IQAC of PDUAMT. Today's session is on data analysis, and data analysis is a vast topic for the discussion. So, to cover everything within the stipulated time of 2 hours is not possible. As I already mentioned at the very beginning in my inaugural speech, that this program is designed for the beginners only. So in next 2 hours, we'll try to the extent possible to cover basic data analysis tool, which are commonly used for univariate, bivariate, and multivariate data. And to deliver lecture on this topic today, we have respected Professor Debojyoti Bhattacharya sir from the Department of Statistics of Assam University. As an alumna of Assam University, I'm so happy and proud to say that sir is a renowned statistician in the entire Northeast and even outside the Northeast. And he is a recognition at a global platform also. So we are really fortunate to have Debojyoti sir with us for today's session. So welcome, sir, to our 5 days FDP. And now
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Now I would like to request moderator of today's session, Mr. Saurabh Bhattacharya, Assistant Professor, Department of Botany of PDUAMT, kindly to introduce the resource person.
Thank
Saurabh?
you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much, madam. Good evening to everyone. I would like to wholeheartedly welcome all the participants of today's session. As we step into the 4th day of this 5-day national level faculty development program, we are all ready for another engaging and informative session in front of us. Today, this evening, we are highly inspired to have Honorable Professor Debojyoti Bhattacharya sir with us. Professor Debojyoti Bhattacharya sir has an extensive academic and professional journey that began way back in 1999. After completing his Doctorate of Philosophy in Statistical Graphics from Guwahati University. He worked at the esteemed Central Statistical Organization, CSO, from 1999 to 2001, and subsequently as a lecturer at Guwahati University from 2001 to 2006. Before joining Assam University, Silchar in 2006, where he has been a faculty member for over 18 years. Since joining Assam University, Silchar in 2006, he has published over 95 research papers, several book chapters, and conference proceedings. His work has garnered over 600 citations with an H index of 14 and I-10 index of 18. He has mentored 7 PhD scholars, reinforcing his role as a dedicated academic. Held key positions in institutions like CSO and Guwahati University. He continues his innovative work in statistical graphics, machine learning, and applied data mining in sports and healthcare. Professor Bhattacharya sir remains an influential figure in both theoretical and applied statistics, with a deep-rooted career defined by excellence in teaching and impactful research. He is continuing his noble pursuits for the exponential upliftment of the academic and scientific community. Now, I would like to wholeheartedly and humbly request Honorable Professor Dibojyoti Bhattacharya sir to kindly enlighten all of us this valuable deliberation. Sir.
Thank you, Saurabh.
Thank you, sir.
So let me share my screen so that we can go to the PowerPoint presentation. Actually, I don't share my video. शकल में कुछ रखा नहीं है आजकल, तो ऐसे ही मतलब इसको ही देखो presentation. So is the presentation means my sheet this one screen visible at your end?
Yes, sir, it is visible.
Okay, friends. Good evening to all of you. At the very outset, I would like to thank Pandit Deendayal Upadhyaya for inviting me to this particular workshop, especially Nityasri, who have been our student, and then the very prominent research scholar of our university. Though she did her PhD from Commerce Department, but she is known to many people across the department. So it is quite obvious that she has gained such an important designation, and also being the coordinator of the IQAC cell of our college. And in days to come, she will make more strides and make us proud again and again. Well, having said that, let us today converge into some aspects of data analysis. And since data analysis, this is a workshop on research methodology, and only one class is kept for data analysis. So obviously, it will be a very basic course, understood. But then, if you want to really make your research a significant one, an analytical one, a resourceful one, you need to attend some full courses or full workshops on data analysis, like workshop on data analysis in for 5 days, 6 days. Then you will get almost a 360-degree view of all the aspects of research analysis or data analysis. So let us have some today. That's why it's basic data analysis. So basic steps. These are just entry points if you want to understand data analysis. You see, many of you, I presume that many of you are from social science. Those who are from science, they might have some exposure, but those who are from social science, you might have lost touch with numerical figures, data, computations, calculations, mathematical formula, deduction, etc. in due course of time. Nityasri, participants are, please give me one very short overview of the participants. Nityasri, come in, please.
Yes, there are some students, sir. 50 plus students are there. Then some research scholars, faculty members are also there, sir.
Students, what type of students? UG students?
PG students, sir.
Oh, PG students. Okay. So PG students, those who do some projects, you might require some of these tools. And those who are research scholars also might know. Teachers are already might be teaching also some of these topics. So this lecture may not be so much useful. But whenever we listen the things which are already been told, every lecture has something been told differently. So basically, when you want to erect a tent, so you require 3 points, which will make you make a room, you require 4 pillars. If you make a tent, you require 3 pillars. That's why there was a dialogue कि मेम साहब मेरे जिंदगी का तंबू तो 3 बम्बों पर खड़ी है. So data analysis actually starts with 3 pillars. You may tell that no, there are so many other aspects of data analysis also. Okay, in that case, you are thinking of a multi-storied building. To start with, when you actually make a tambu, you require these 3 bamboo. One is average, one is dispersion, and another is relationship between variables. If you understand these 3 things, at least you can erect your tambu and stay there for 1 or 2 days. But subsequently, if you want to stay long with your data analysis, you need to pick up more things in due course of time. As Nityasri was also telling that, okay, in due course of time, you need to actually, these are very basic things. So exactly, that is correct. Means at least, so I will in this lecture try to cover these 3 bamboo. so that you can stand, make a tambu and stand inside the tambu, feel secured also to a great extent. So that is the objective of my lecture. In between I will stop and I will ask for feedback. So at that time you can switch on your mic and ask the question. Don't write the question on that one chat box, because I cannot see the chat box right now because I am sharing the screen. So I will take after every 5-10 minutes I will stop for a moment and take your feedback. Okay, well, if you have some questions, then you can ask at that time. Okay, let us comment. Let us start with a very simple part. Now, what happens, you see, we generally, there is a concept of those who are political science or similar other discipline, but everyone we are actually associated with. After a few days, you will find that our country goes for an election, sometimes for Vidhan Sabha, sometimes for Lok Sabha, sometimes for Gaon Panchayat, sometimes for municipality. And when they do the election, at that time, some people, they come to our homes. These days they don't come also. They ask for votes. Sometimes they tell that, okay, I remember one particular leader of a big party. He was going through my lane, and some of his colleagues were shouting in the mic that your such and such has come, of such and such party has come here to beg vote. It's not time to meet you. So all of you, please come to your gate and meet him. Now this is the claim they are making before the election, that उसके पास तुमसे मिलने का टाइम नहीं, वोट तो मांगने आया है, मिलने का टाइम नहीं है, खुद आके मिल लो. Before the election अगर ऐसा हुआ, after the election क्या होगा? Anyways, so this is the thing. So what we do actually, we actually recruit someone. We actually go to stand in line, give and select our representative, and then comes a representative who actually represents us. Represents us where? Maybe in the Vidhan Sabha, maybe in the Lok Sabha, maybe in the Gaon Panchayat, maybe in the municipality. He represents us. But this is democracy, that all people's voice cannot be heard. So if there is someone elected, that elected representative will come forward and he or she will place the points of the crowd, so that these things is done. So what is actually in the previous, what do we see? Average. Now in average, what is that? In average, we are actually searching for a representative of what? Representative of a data set. Suppose I collect the ages of all the participants of this workshop. Now Nitu Sri was telling that, oh sir, there are some PG students also, there are some scholars also, and there are some teachers also. Now teachers, so big range, means there may be a young teacher of the age of 24 and another teacher at the age of 80. You may tell that, oh no sir, they have to retire at 60 or 65. But once a teacher, always a teacher. Once a teacher, always a teacher. If I retire also, then also Nitusri will come and tell that he was our teacher. ऐसा नहीं बोलेगी कि नहीं वो थे, मतलब उस समय जब हम यूनिवर्सिटी में थे, इसके बाद वो रिटायर कर लिया, अभी वो टीचर नहीं है. But once a teacher, always a teacher. So in the teacher, there will be large, means huge range. It may be from 24 to 80, and then some young stars who are doing their PG 21, 22, 23, and some research scholar also in 25, 26, 28, 30, 32, like this. Now, when I want to actually tell that who is about a age of a teacher, or age of the people of our workshop, then it is quite a difficult task. Why? Because so many people are there. Nitusri told me that it is more than 100 plus. So how can I tell the name of age of all the teachers, all the participants of the workshop? Is it really possible? No, sir, it's not possible. Then what we need to do? We need a representative bill. We need a representative bill, somewhat like the public representative. Now here there is a little bit difference between the public representative and the data representative. Public representative, we are supposed to select the best individual. Some people are very intelligent. They come and tell. They don't tell that you vote for me. They don't tell. They also don't tell that you vote for our party. Rather, they tell you that you vote wisely and vote for the wisest person or the most honest person among the options available. He tells like this. And he means to say that he is the most intelligent and most honest person, but he does not tell it. Rather, he tells that I do not tell that you vote me, but you decide judiciously and select for the most intelligent person. Who is the most intelligent person? He himself, but he does not tell it like this. So, bhavnaon ko samjho. So that actually does the thing. So that means in election, we select the best person. But when we speak about a data representative, we do not select the highest value. We rather do not select the lowest value also. We want to select someone from the middle. Some value from the middle of the data set or the center of the data set, which is called as which can represent the data set. And so that is why it's called as a measures of central tendency. नाम काफी heavy है, सुनने से लगता है पता नहीं इसमें क्या है, but actually thing is that we want a representative data set, and that representative data set should be someone in the middle. If someone has some objection with Hindi, you may tell. Okay. Once I was in an online lecture, so some people told me that we don't want to listen to Hindi. Okay. So if there is someone of that type, you may tell. Okay. Then I know English also. Okay. Anyways, so this is about the difference between a data representative and a public representative. Public representative, we select the best one. Data is nothing like best or worst. We want something in the middle, some value in the middle, which actually gives a representative of all the value. Yeah, if you have some question, you may ask me. Okay. So here it tells that it is not the best one, but the one which has some number in the middle, not the extreme values. Three most common measures of central tendency are mean, median, and mode. These are three types of averages and nothing else. Mean, median, and mode. Mean is that simple average. We'll see it how to compute this. Well, so mean formula computation. This is the formula. We add all the values and divide it by the number of observations. I have a small example also. Like here you see, I have some weights of 5 rats in grams are 120, 100, 75, 98, and 112. Then you can calculate the average using this. So you get 101 grams. That means on an average, the weight of the rats are 101 grams. Now you may tell that these, so I have done so many times. We have done it in the school. Or dharana zaruri hai. Now once I tell you an interesting story about the research, I wrote a paper which has some mathematical equations and all, and then I showed it because it was a paper related to marketing. So I showed to a marketing guy that, sir, please look into it and see if the paper is okay. The marketing guy is telling, he was a Hindi speaking person. So he was telling that, sir, isme to jabardast kaam hua hai. I told that, how did you tell jabardast kaam? You did not even read the paper properly, just you looked into it. Now then I understood that seeing the equations, big equations, he got it understood that this is a very difficult paper. So it's a jabardast kaam hua hai. So research mein this is very important. So if you understand something just by reading, okay, this is a simple paper. Kya hai? Is paper mein kuch nahi hai. If you don't understand, then oh my God, something serious has been done. So when you later on write the paper also like this, you write it simply because from our childhood we are being taught that simple raho, simplicity is beauty. Research mein jaake pata chala simplicity is not beauty. Simplicity leads to rejection. I wrote a paper someday. The journal wala sent me the paper. This paper is very simple. So it is rejected. Kuch karan to batao. Simple ke liye wo rejection ho gaya. Anyway, so now what is these to already you know, these things which we discuss. Okay. Now what is the advantage? You see, let me tell you very precisely the advantage of this. That's why I should calculate average. Now suppose, I think many of you watch cricket also, and you know that there is a league in India called as in the Indian Premier League, where domestic as well as foreign players come and play. And there is a team which was so long actually captained by Mahendra Singh Dhoni called Chennai Super Kings. And the Chennai Super Kings actually last 2 years, if you leave, other than that, the previous part till 2021 till 21, very senior players were there. All Mahendra Singh Dhoni, then all the senior players, many senior players were there. And that team was called as the Daddy's team. So उसमें सब शादीशुदा है, सबके बच्चे हैं. So that team was called as Daddy's team. Now what happens if you take the average age of Chennai Super Kings (CSK) you may find that the average age is coming to 32. Whereas if you take a younger team, say KKR, because KKR is having very young players, you will find that the average of KKR is say 26. Now what we understand from there? Just looking at the average, CSK 30, KKR 26. So what do we understand? That CSK has some senior players. Just looking at the average, without knowing who is playing, etc. Just if you tell the average 32, so they are having senior players. Now I analyze it. Senior players, what is the advantage? They will have more experience. They will be more, what is that called, resilient. That means may be able to perform a different situation when the situation is in their favor, when the situation is in their against also. Both the situations they can perform. Now, who is the other part? 26. But these senior players, what are the disadvantage? Their fielding will not be very good because they will not be so much agile in the field. But they may use their experience. Their bowling will not be very fast, but they will use their experience, late out swing, all these things will come in. Whereas those KKR, they will be very much energetic in the fielding, but will lack in experience. So many things can come out of a simple average. If you just look at average, then okay, it's a number which represents the data. But if you you should let your mind free. Because statistics is nothing different, or data analysis nothing different from common sense. Whatever you get from the number. Otherwise, numbers are always very dry. Okay. Now, what are the problems with mean? Let us have one such example. A problem with mean is that the means, suppose the following 5 numbers, 12, 10, 7.5, 9.8 and 112. Suppose you are taking the weight once again of 5 rats. Say. These rats you have collected from your home, 12, 10, 7.5, 9.8. In your home, you will find that if rats are there, Bhagwan kare ki aisa na ho, if rats are there, you will find that small rats are there. But if you go to the railway station, you will find that huge rats. I don't know what they do near the railway line, but there are huge rats in stations. You will find train stations and near the platform in the rail line, huge size rats, a size of a cat. I have seen it universally in India in most places. Now, if you take their average, you look at the average comes out with 30.26. It should be a representative value, mind it. It should be a value in the middle, somewhere from the middle. But this value, 30.26, is nowhere in the middle. You see, even it is much greater than the second largest value. That means big numbers, if they are in the data set, the big numbers will have a tendency or style of pulling the average towards itself, and it will distract your concept of central. Now, if your data set is large, then there will be some big values, some small values, and they will actually eliminate each other. It will not be so much effective. But if your data value is small, if the data set is small, then such values will create problems for the actual average. And sometimes, suppose here it is not a big problem, I believe, if it is the weight of the rats. But sometimes, suppose I am visiting my some friend's house. Say I had my education in Delhi, and suppose say I go to Delhi. In Delhi, I have some friends, so I collect their address and then I visit their houses. Like, कैसा है? बहुत दिनों बाद मिला. कैसे हो? क्या हुआ तुम्हारा जिंदगी में? कितने बच्चे हुए? So I am taking a note of the number of children there. So someone is not having a children, someone is having say 2 children, someone is having 4 children, someone is having 1, someone is having 2, once again someone is having 3, someone is having 2, 1, 0. I take the average and I find that the average is coming out to be 1.6. Now the question is 1.6. My friends have 1.6 children in an average, or children in an average. My friends, I make a statement after calculating the average. My friends, I don't know, 1.6 is child or children, I shall say. Okay, 1.6 children on an average. Oh my God, OMG, what is the meaning? What is 1.6? One child तो ठीक है, एक बच्चा है, दो बच्चा भी समझ में आ जाता है. 1.6, OMG, what is this? Lol. So this is it does not have such. So these are some problems which are found in mean, that is arithmetic mean. Now, what is that? How we can avoid this? Well, fractional I cannot avoid, but I have a way in which we can avoid. I don't have, means there is. So there is a way by which you can avoid these extreme values. What happens in extreme values? If you calculate something called a trimmed mean, this is what you will not generally listen. मतलब ऐसे मीन एवरेज के बारे में तो कोई भी बोलेगा, और बुक्स में भी है बहुत सारा, पढ़े भी हो, ट्रिम्ड मीन के बारे में पढ़े हो, विंडसराइज्ड मीन के बारे में पढ़े हो पहले, मुझे तो नहीं लगता. Anyways, this is the advantage of listening to such lectures. Okay, now what happens? Let us come over to Excel. Okay, now suppose I have this data set. I think it is visible at your end. Font size is quite large. Shall I make it larger? Okay, let us make it a little large. So, well, I calculate the mean of this data set, these values. Well, X is the name of the variable, and these values, which are red, I'll color it red just now. Give me red. Okay, well, now it is red. Okay. Now I want to calculate the average or mean. I write equal to, then I write average A, B, E, R, A, G, E in Excel. Whenever you want to compute in Excel, जिनको पता है उनको तो पता है, जिनको पता नहीं वो जरा ध्यान से देख लो. So equal to लिखना जरूरी है, because equal to will indicate that you are actually introducing a formula. If you don't like write equal to and write average, it will take average as a word. Okay, fine. Now you give the bracket. Now you click and drag that data for which you want the average. So I click this data for which I want the average. So I click from here to here, and then I click enter. So I get the average. So this is my average. Okay, now this particular interesting thing in Excel is that this is actually connected to this data set now also, even after computation. ऐसा नहीं कि calculate कर दिया चलो हो गया. Because what I mean to say that if I change one of the values, the average will change. Suppose one value is instead of 41, it's a 141. Now as soon as I click, you see the average will change from 24.09 to 33.18. Now this is one, you see other values are small, like 12, 14, 19, but the average, you see, average is quite big. It's close to the topmost values, and because of actually 141. Now how to avoid this, or how to eliminate the impact of very large numbers or the impact of very small numbers in a data set? So I go with trimmed mean. So I write equal to, can I have a bigger font size? Font size, बड़ा किया जाए. TRI, okay. TRI, you see already trim mean has come. So I click on here, so it tells trim mean, which data set, this data set, and then it asks for a percentage. So percentage, how to write? 0.1, let me try, 0.1. Okay, now you see average has come down. Now what is the meaning of 0.1? 0.1 means 10%. So here you see there are how many values? 11 values. So 10% means actually it will take 10 values. It will eliminate the largest observation. That is, it will not take the largest observation, and it will also not take the smallest observation. That means when I give trim mean 10%, that means out of 10 values, 2 values. Which 2 values? One is the highest maximum extreme value, and the minimum value. Those 2 values will be eliminated, and the average will be computed based on the other values. And now you see average is 22.4, so that is okay. So you have 34, 31, 30, 29, 22.4 seems to be a value in the middle. So suppose this is the reason. For example, Chennai Super Kings, now they have a very young team. Dhoni may be playing in this particular edition also. Now if Dhoni plays, now what happens? That you see Dhoni's age is around 42 now. So 42 or 38, 39, something like this. Maybe 42, I think. So if his age is like 42 or 40, and other players will be like 27, 28, 26. Now Dhoni will actually pull the average age and bring towards it will bring towards somewhat more than 30, but actual average might be quite less. But because of the presence of Dhoni, who's actually Mahendra Singh Dhoni, whose age is around 40s, so it will pull the average. So these type of things can be avoided with the help of a trimmed mean. So this is how a trimmed mean works. Okay. Now any questions, please? Any questions you may ask?
Sir,
Yes, yes. Please go ahead. Tell your name.
sir, sir, I'm Anupama Sarkar.
Hmm.
Sir, kindly explain the percent thing that you said.
Okay. Percentage means how many people reject. For example, this is okay. Let us have this. Suppose you want to 20% trim mean. Now you see how many values are there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So 20% means 2 values. 10. What is the 20% of 10? 2 values. That means 2 values from the top. Top, which value is in the top? 170 is there in the top. Next topmost value, I think 120. So 2 values from the top, that is 170, 120. And 2 values from the bottom, 37 and 48, they will be taken away by trimmed mean. They will not be considered. Average will be considered based on these values. That means 20%, 10 value, 20%. So average will be computed based on the other values. So actually this is this needs a correction. Say this will be 10% of trimmed mean. Okay, now you see 10% of trimmed mean. So 10% means what? 10% of 10 is 1. That means one value from the top and one value from the bottom will not be considered. That means average will be based on 48, 56, 68, 75, 98, 100, 112 and 120. Not 170, not 37. So since the values is decreased, earlier it was 10, now it is 8 values. So we'll take here 8 values and the average will be computed in this way. So what is the advantage of these? These extreme values like 170 or the extreme small value like 37 will not be able to influence the average. So average will be based on the remaining values, not on all the observations. Some people may also criticize this, that it is not based on all the values, but on some of the values. But this is one way you can control in case you believe that there is an outlier in your data set of very large value or very small value. That means everyone, you take a exam in mathematics in a class, all students are getting around 70, 80. One student is getting 33. So that is also an outlier. So these cases can be used like that. But it will, if you do this in Excel, it will take off from both sides, not only from one side. Maybe that there is no extreme value at the bottom, but there is an extreme value at the top. So that will not actually be controlled in trimmed mean. So this is how we can, to certain extent, objectively determine trim mean. And in Excel, we have seen the formula. So 20%, if 20%, then you have to write 0.2. If 10%, then you have to write 0.1. That is when you do this in Excel. What is the command? Equal to trim mean, then bracket starts, then select the data range and then comma, then if 10%, then 0.1, 20%, then 0.2 and close the bracket. So 20%, then 4 values will go from the 2 from both sides. Okay. Any other question? Now, windsorized mean, what they do, same data set, I am taking an example. Now, in windsorized mean, they actually replace the extreme value. Suppose 37 is very small, you believe that 37 is very small, it should not be there in the data set, it is too small. So 37 will be replaced by 48. And 170, another extreme value, will be represented by the corresponding smaller value, that is 120. And then we will compute the average. This is called as the windsorized mean. So here you actually don't cancel 2 values or don't take away 2 values, but rather you actually introduce the next minimum or next means maximum value. So that is what you do in this. So that is how this is to be done. So in case you have more extreme values, then you take 170 also, 120 also. Then 170 and 120 both will be represented by 112. That means 112 will appear 3 times. Similarly, at the end also, 48 also you take away. And this first 37 will be represented by 56. Second 48 will be represented by 56. Now once again 56 is already there. So this is how we actually Windsorize the mean. Okay, any question? There is no Excel command for Winsorized mean. So you have to do it manually if you want to do the Winsorized mean. Okay, any other queries?
Sir, is this practically used, like as we use the trim mean, and as well as is this Winsorized mean is also used?
Naam batao, madam.
Ma'am, Pratyusha from Kolkata.
Okay. Pratyusha. I am also now in Kolkata, near Damdam Airport. I was traveling throughout the day. So,
Okay, sir.
Okay, anyway, so what is the, these are all not developed by me, these are developed by some previous statisticians, experts. So they use that Winsorized mean. These are there in statistics literature.
Okay.
References are also there. So in case you use them, you have to give the reference. Even if you say these are actually quite popular, so very popular things you need not give the references. But if you want that, no, you are doing PhD or you have completed.
No, sir, I'm a PhD scholar.
Okay, PhD scholar. Then your Mogambo may tell you that where from you got this. Mogambo means your PhD guy.
Yes, I got it.
So he or she may tell you that where from you got this formula. At that time, if you require, you search this Winsorized mean keyword. You search in Google, you will get the corresponding references also. These are all from statistics literature.
Yes,
So
yes, sir, got it.
Basic purpose is to see that the outliers are not disturbing your average.
Disturbing it.
Sometimes outliers, but then there is a natural process also. Next one we are going to see that. That is median. In median, what happens? It's a natural way of detecting outlier. But then suppose I want to compute the median of these 5 values, number of observations. For example, this case. Now here you see I have arranged them in ascending order. But I am not getting a middle value because 3 value in one side, 3 value in another side. In the middle, nothing is there. In that case, this is actually obtained by averaging the 2 middle values, that is 100 and 112. Taking the simple average of the 2 values in the middle, 100 and 112, so 106. So that is the way. So there will be no influence of extreme observations because only 2 values will participate. So even if extreme observations are there, they won't infer this. The problem with median is that if there is some value changes, say 112 becomes 120 once again, then the median will remain the same. Median will not same. If the value, suppose 100 becomes 105, median will remain the same. So this is also not good. That values changing, the median value remains the same. This is also not changing. But if there are odd number of observations, the median will be one of the observations, like in this case. One of those observations. So this is the median. This is one way where you can actually eliminate the impact of extreme values at the cost of low level information. That means some value changing, your median remains the same. If suppose in the middle 100 and 112 they change, then median will be affected. But if this 115 becomes 117 or 120 becomes 127, the median will not change. Median will remain the average of these two only. That means sometimes median changes, sometimes median does not change depending on changing of the values. So this is not as per the ideal measure of central tendency. Ideal measure tells that it should be based on all the observations. So it is not actually based in all the observations, not sensitive. This we call sensitive. So median is not very much sensitive. But median is sometimes very useful. I tell you an example. Sometimes you want to work with qualitative things, not quantities, direct qualitative things. In that case, median comes handy. Like if you want to tell that, okay, say 3 students are there. One student, I gave him a note and I told that, beta, isko photocopy kara ke le aao. और फिर वो जो मेरा बुक है वो वापस कर देना. So I gave him some book, his notebook, and told that you get the photocopy and return it back to me. And I did it with 3 students. Now, one student, what she did is that she took away the notebook. She did the photocopy during lunch break, and after lunch break, she returned the notebook to me. One student. Second student, what he did, that I gave him the notebook. I told him that you return me after lunch, but after lunch he did not come. I also forgot. I went home. At night, suddenly I remembered that I require a notebook. I require the notebook. So I just called him, and he told that no, sir, actually there was no electricity, and then the Xerox was also so much loaded with work. So he told me to come late. So tomorrow I will give you. Next day also he did not give. I also forgot. When I came home, I remembered. I called him once again. Hello, sir. Actually, yes, today I could not go because I was suffering from a stomach ache. I told that, but where is my notebook? It is with Xerox wala, sir. I told that, oh, Xerox wala may actually give it to someone else, or he may get it lost. Then he told that, no, nothing like that. He is a very known person. So after 2-3 days, he returned to me. Okay. And the third student, I gave the notebook. After taking the notebook, he never came back. When I call him, I don't have his number also. Somehow I managed. When I call him, he does not take my call. When I found him in WhatsApp, I reply. I asked for my notebook. He does not reply. When asked his friends for my notebook is gone. Now, out of these 3 students, who is in the median? One is very sincere. Second one, he returned after 3-4 days. Third one, he did not return at all. Whose sincerity is at the median? Obviously, the second one. So these quantitative things you may actually find out the median. In case of color, you can find out the median color. Say 4, 5, 6 shades of blue. So out of this, which is the median blue? So you can find it out. So sometimes in qualitative things, this median comes very handy. And the next comes the mode. Mode is which is used by more number of people. It comes from a French word la mode, which means actually fashion. Fashion is whatever is there, people are using there. Now bell bottom fashion once again back. So people are wearing bell bottom cargo. I was seeing many people wearing cargo trousers once again. It was in fashion in the 90s, late 90s, when we were in our golden days. At that time we used to wear cargo. Now I found that once again cargo was back. Last 20 years I did not see much of a cargo, but now cargo is back. So what happens? Because many people are using it. So which number is appearing or which thing is appearing more number of times, then that is the mode. For example, if I ask you how many spare pens do you have? Someone may not have any spare pen, only single pen. Someone may not have pen at all. Okay, someone may have 2 spare pens along with the pen which the person is writing. So I ask this question to everyone, and then I found that most of the people, I repeat, most of the people are having 1 spare pen. So the mode is 1. Mode of this number of spare pens, the mode is 1. So mode is that which is a person who gets the maximum number of votes, that individual is elected. So this is how mode works. So mode can be computed directly unless and until it's a grouped frequency distribution. If numbers are there, so I can calculate mode. Let us see in Excel how we can do this. I think we are in the end of our measures of central tendency. Okay, let us suppose I want to calculate this data set. I want to calculate the median. Say I want to calculate the median for this. Okay, let me make it bold. Let me make it red. Now I want to compute the median equal to median. Okay, I select it till this and then close the bracket and press enter. I got the median 32. Now let us see what is the mode of this data set. What is the mode? Is there anything like mode in mode is there? Something called mode is there in Excel. Okay, mode. Okay, I want to see the details. I'm going to right click here. Help. Okay, help will take the internet method. Okay. Mode. Let's see. You want to find the most common number. Okay. Number of birds. It gives a mode will work. This one will work. So I click for this. And then I give, galat jawab. Why? Can anyone tell me? NA means unable to find an answer. Why? Mode cannot. Anyone can answer?
There are no repetitions, sir.
Huh?
There are no repetitions here, sir.
Yes, yes. बताओ नाम बताओ.
Sort of, sir. Sort of Bhattacharya.
अच्छा, वो जो मुझको इंट्रोड्यूस किया, वो तुमने लेक्चर वो एआई से लिखा क्या?
No, sir.
अच्छा, खुद लिख दिया. मुझे लगा एआई है. मेरा वो छोटा मोटा बायोडाटा लेके उसको एआई कर दिया. Anyways, thank you. अच्छा, so mode, because here what is the definition of mode? That which number appears more number of times. Here there is no repetition. Each number is individual. You see, first number is 30. 30, there is no repetition. 42 is never repeated once again. So mode is coming out to be not no, because all of them are having appeared only once. So mode is unable to compute. Let us change this. Let us make this 30. Let us make this 30 also. Now you see, you get the mode. Mode is 30. Why mode is 30? Because 30 is appearing more than one maximum number of times. Even if this 29, then also mode will be 30. Why? Because 30 is appearing twice maximum number of times. Others are appearing more number of times. Let us make this 43. Now what is the answer? You see, this is now, this Excel is actually, this is bimodal. Excel is now unable to perform this. Now let us make this 43 also. Now you see, the median also becomes 43, mode also becomes 43 with these changes, because 30 is there but it appears twice, 43 is there but it appears thrice. That's why mode is with 43, mode is not with 30. So whoever appears maximum number of times, there lies the mode. And median because of this. So this is how we can. So one thing is very interesting, that in Excel you can calculate the mean, you can calculate the median, you can calculate the mode, and you can also calculate the trimmed mean. Also there is something called as very less used geometric mean and harmonic mean. Those two things can also be computed in Excel, but we are not going to discuss this because they are not generally in use. Okay, so with this we come to an end of measures of central tendency. मतलब मेरा तंबू का पहला बम्बू खड़ा हो गया है. If you have some questions, please go ahead. Okay. Any question is there?
খুলে দাও এটা না, একটুখানি নজর রাখতে হবে, বাচ্চার দরজাটা বেশি টেনে যাবে না, থাক, বুঝতে পেরেছো? ঠিক ধরেছো? ঠিক ধরেছো না? হি গট স্কেয়ার্ড, আজকে আবার করেছে। আমি ঠিক আছে, আমি দেখছি, এখনই উঠে এসে দেখলাম জাগে।
Okay, so we could listen to some family talk news. So I think that is not a question. That was not a question. So anyways, let us go back and now let us study measures of dispersion. Now the question is that dispersion is a measure of variation of the values of items in a data set. It is the degree to which a set of numerical data tends to spread around the average value. Okay, very difficult to understand, but let me put it in a simple manner. Suppose I have given a air pistol to two individuals, and I have put a bullseye, a target in front of them, and asked them to shoot at the target, to both the individuals. Now, one is an expert shooter, so he is shooting, and most of his shots are falling in and around the bullseye, very close to the bullseye. Another person who is an amateur has not even used this particular air pistol much. He is shooting at the target, so he is actually not trying to understand where should he aim and from which direction he should look, and to which way he should actually air resistant other things, how it needs to be controlled. He is not aware about that, and he is shooting, and his shots are spread is far away from the bullseye. Means some of them are in the shots are in the top bottom, but they are spread across. Same thing Expert shooter is also doing in both sides and in the top and the bottom, but these shots are very close to the bullseye and sometimes he's hitting the bullseye also. And the Anari one, he is shooting, some of them by accidentally is hitting the bullseye, but the values are spread across. So this is the concept. That here the first one, who is more consistent? Obviously the expert one is more consistent because his shots are in and around the target. That person also in and around the target, but lot of scattering is there. Now I want a measure which can give me an idea about the dispersion in the data set. Dispersion means how much the values are spread around the central value, because we have computed mean, median or mode, whatever. After that we want to see whether the data set is scattered around the central value. If it is scattered, then we need a measure for this. So this dispersion is nothing but finding a measure for scattering of the data set. So that is the concept used here. Any query related to this? And so I am trying to explaining the definition of dispersion. Definition is there, you will find in the book also many definitions. But do you want an explanation? Anything more you want to know about this? Don't feel shy in asking question. The online, that is an advantage. No one actually sees you, so you just give the answer. Na tum hame jano, na hum tumhe jane. Okay, let us try to understand this. Okay, with one example. Now representative is decided. Now representative is decided, then you will find that whenever a public figure or a Neta type person, he never goes alone. He comes out of his house, he will find that many followers are along with him. Whatever he tells, his followers tell more than that. So this is, suppose one leader, he moves with the public like this. This is an example. Now if we assume that the Netaji is the central value, that is the average, and these are some values, say less than the average. Let me pick up that one. What is it? Pointer options, highlighter, laser pointer. Okay. So these are some people who are actually, whose values are less than the average. These are some values which are close to the average. These are some values far away from the average but greater than the average. So this is the central value. So this is how we compute the average. Now in this case also average is this, but as you can see the values are very close to the average. Let us take another example. This is an example where dispersion is less. Dispersion means scattering of a data set, not the scattering of a light, the scattering of a data set. But this is actually a particular individual. After winning the election, he is going alone. He doesn't want his followers. He is doing whatever he wants to do alone. So his followers are all around. If you consider that this is a numerical value, which is central value, and these are actually values which are some other values less than the average, these are very small. These are very large. Average is here. So here the scattering is more. Unlike what we have seen in the previous slide. So this is scattering in more. Now I want to measure this. I want a numerical measure so that I can say that, well, average is less or average is more, or where the average is more. Sometimes you see it is average more, it is better. Dispersion, more dispersion is better. But most of the cases we prefer to have less dispersion. Suppose some individual, he tells that, okay, I will come at 10. Well, office is starting is 10. Now some individual is there, he comes at 10, 10, 5, 10, 7, 10, 15. Maximum 10, 20. Sometimes he comes early also and wait for the peon to open the door. So sometimes he 9:55, 9:50, like that. So that means he will have more understanding about this individual. Okay, he will come at that time. If you go to the office, you will find him. Some people there, sometimes they come before time, sometimes they come at 12:30, sometimes they come at 1:30, sometimes they come at 11:30. That means that dispersion is more. So dispersion more creates problem. But our world is beautiful because dispersion is more. If all the people would have same type taste, all the people would have same type of color, then the world would be so boring. And no color at all in this world, similar color, all people are thinking similarly, all likes blue, then all likes blue. So this is this is the concept of dispersion. Any questions? Now let us look at the first measure of dispersion. The first measure of dispersion is range. A range is the difference between the smallest and the largest observation. Once again, we take the example of the rats. For example, these 5 rats, the maximum weight is 120 and the minimum weight is minimum weight is 75. So I have 120 minus 75. That is 45 grams. This is called as the range. So this is the range of the data set. Well, now let us look at the formula for variance. Formula for variance is this. This is little bit complicated. Okay, this is the range is otherwise very simple to calculate. First find the maximum minimum value and find the difference. Sometimes it is useful also. But what is the problem with range is that it is not based on all the values. It is based on only the maximum and the minimum value and hence not considered seriously. What is considered seriously? One is variance, another is standard deviation. Variance and standard deviation are almost the same formula. The difference is that there is a square root over this. So if you are thinking that, oh my God, what is this difficult formula? So you don't need to compute it manually. The issue is that standard deviation can be computed by the help of Excel. And the thing is that most of you are, this workshop is related to research. So researchers, no one means do computation manually. It is for class purpose. Well, compute the standard deviation. It's quite a difficult question because students have to compute. Even with calculator, it is time consuming because once again you take the square root and there are a few steps. But the thing is that we presume that we compute these things with the help of Excel. So this is the formula. Now what is the difference? Because formulas are similar, but yet standard deviation is considered to be the best measure of dispersion. I repeat, standard deviation is the best measure of dispersion. So whenever you speak of a data, generally we tell the average age of the students are this, or average age of the population is this, the average monthly income is this. We speak about the average, but remember, along with the average, always the standard deviation should come. Average and standard deviation go together. Otherwise, data sets are difficult to understand. I also have an example, interesting story to explain this. But let us first see this. What is this? Now, what happens? The difference between standard deviation and variance is that variance, if your data is in centimeter, then the variance will become centimeter square, because here you see there is a square. Now, this is sometimes difficult to understand. That I put some to understand scattering, I compute the variance. The variance is coming as centimeter square. Oh, then how is this done? Then we have standard deviation. Standard deviation takes the square root. So even if your data is in centimeter, here it will get centimeter square. But once again, square root will eliminate and bring it back to centimeter. So it is better to have the data and the output in the same unit of measurement. So it is easier to understand. If it gets squared up, then or some other change in unit, then it is difficult. So this is about variance and standard deviation. Okay, so we have some data here. This is fasting, random blood sugar fasting of 10 individuals in mg per dl who came for a medical checkup. Is this? Compute the variance and standard deviation. Okay, let us go to Excel and do this. 112, this 102, is this? Yes, blood sugar. Okay, very nice. Now let us do some computation. Let me compute this. I can see this is the data set. Well, let us make it red. Okay, now suppose I want to calculate the maximum with the help of Excel. As though I can find out by hunting, like okay, 231 is the maximum. Let us look and then equal to max. Max is the maximum command in Excel. Then we put the bracket and click and drag to the first data to the last data, close the bracket, we get the maximum value. You see 231 is the maximum. Here also Excel returns the same value, and so it is 231. Well, now let us look at the minimum value. Okay, well, I have the minimum value min and then close the bracket. Then I go from here to here and then close the bracket. Okay, I get the minimum value 98. So 98 is the minimum value. Let us make it red and bold. Okay. Now let us look at computing the range of the data set. Is there anything called as range? No, because I have calculate written range, then nothing came up. When I calculate mean, something up. So that means range is not there. Range command is not there. So I have to compute it mechanically, not manually, but mechanically. So maximum minus minimum, that is range. So I write equal to. Then I click on this value. Then I give minus. Then I click on 98. And then I click on enter. So I give the range. So that range is 113. This is bold. Range is 13. Then I have variance, and I have equal to VAR, variance. Okay, I want to calculate variance. Okay, equal to VAR. Then one is there VARP. So select that VARP, or one is there VAR dot P. Anyone. I repeat, VARP or VAR dot P. Anyone you pick up. So VAR dot P and then the numbers. So from here to here, I compute and press enter. So I get the variance of this number. So 1952.96. Now I want to calculate standard deviation. So I write equal to STDEV. Then you see dot P, standard deviation dot P. So dot P, then you give the bracket, and then after that you select the values, press enter. So you get the variance. You can also check whether this is correct, because you know standard deviation is the square root of variance. So standard deviation is the square root of variance. So this is the variance. So if I take the square root of this number, so it should be equal to this. Let me check it. Equal to, what is the formula for square root in Excel? SQRT. So SQRT is the formula for square root. Okay. And then just you click on this one and press enter. So you get 44.19. This is 44.19004413. So okay, they are comparable. They are same. So this is how we compute the standard deviation of this data set. Okay. Any doubt? Any question? Okay, let me wear a jacket. I'm feeling cold. Three, chai pilao. Okay. Now, so any questions you have? No. Any questions? Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are audible.
Okay. I was in doubt whether I am audible or not. Nobody is asking question. Okay, now let us show you one. Why I told that, well, the variance should not be, the average should not be studied individually, but it should be studied with the help of variance, or standard deviation should come. Because your Mogambo may tell you that, okay, you have the average, that is all, but not all. You will require to report the standard deviation also, because whether how much confidence you are going to have on your average, that is determine the variance. Let us see this. So there is a famous novel by Chetan Bhagat, whose many of his novels were converted into films. One Night at the Call Center. This is also converted into a film. And that is one movie was there released, say around 2007-8. Hello by Salman Khan. It's a story about a call center. So if you watch that, you will find an interesting story. Okay, well, but our discussion is not in this story, and nothing to do with that particular story at One Night at the Call Center. Rather, this is a different story from my side, and so I have changed the name of the title of the novel and the name of the author as well. One Day at the Park. So we are going to understand what happened one day in the park, not one day at the one night at the call center. Nothing to do with that. Okay, well, let me start my story. So there is a small town, and in the small town there is a very beautiful park, and everyone used to come to the park, and that is oh my God, what a beautiful sunrise, and fog is there. Oh. And so many people come to the park every day, because this is a small town, but people are quite heavily populated, and then there is only one park in the town, so people come over to the park visit. Okay, the park was very famous for its bushes. Okay, and ill famous for what happened around the bushes. What happened around the bushes? Oh, these type of things happen around the bushes. So that's why the park was very. One day, a small boy was playing football, or say maybe playing with his ball, and the ball went inside the bush. He also followed the ball, and then he saw that inside that these things were going on. Oh God! And then he got very excited. And because children, they should not see that their interests lie there. And with this, there was a professor. What is the professor doing there? Professor is a botany professor. He went there to collect some samples. And then he saw that all these small kid watching all these things. So he was very angry. And then he wrote a letter to the authority that I am Professor such and such. Yesterday I was in the park for collecting some botany samples, but these things were going in the park. This is the only park in the town, and these things should not be allowed. So the authorities of the park came down, and they decided to post a home guard in the park. And so when the home guard came to the park, and next day they appointed a home guard also. Name of the home guard was Dayashankar Pandey. Dayashankar Pandey was appointed. His duty was to go around the park and to stop the nonsense. That is the responsibility of Dayashankar Pandey. Dayashankar Pandey got his job, but Dayashankar Pandey remained otherwise busy. He was always busy dressing his mustache. And he did not like his job of going around the park all the time throughout the day. And one day he met me. So he came to me one day. And then he asked me that I don't want to go here and there. You design some way in which I can understand how many people are there in the park, etc. Well, and then I thought and I found a plan. What is the plan? When the people come and purchase the ticket from the counter clerk will ask the ages of the people who are entering into the park. The counter clerk will at once enter these ages in the Excel file maybe, and in the room of Dayashankar Pandey, these age will be displayed. Now let me try to understand that who are the people who will do that type of nonsense in the park. Actually, all the people generally, whenever such things happen, people actually give the entire responsibility of the teenager. The teenager ka kaam hai. But no, actually after teen come the teenager, 20, 21, 22. So these twins, teens and twins, they are responsible. Let us assume by 30, because last is 29, after that 30. By 30 people get married, and after that they don't need to come to the park because for obvious reasons. Okay, so even if they come to the park, they won't do all these things. So I explained to him like this, that if it is between say 13 to 29, then you go around the park. That means a lot of youngsters are there in the park. If it is something else, some other values like more than 30, then you understand that senior people are there in the park. If it is less than 13, then you understand that many small children are there in the park. So they won't do those nonsense. So you may not go. So I gave some idea like this. So one day in the park came an old man with his grandchildren. So this is the old man, this is the grandchildren. What is the average age? You will compute, because this is the old man, 72 years, grandchildren 11, 4, 5. Okay, another father is there, 35 years with his daughter, 4 years. So the average age is coming out to be 21.8. Now, as per our discussion, Dayashankar Pandey saw the value. He understands that it is between the teens and the twins. That means it is in the twins, so there is a possibility of some nonsense taking place. And so he went around the park, expecting that some nonsense would take place somewhere. But even after going the park up and down, he could not find anything. He then came to me and told that he's telling his friend, in fact, that kya yaar Bhattacharya ji ne khali pili ghuma diya. So, okay, well, then another day in the park. So this is part one of the story. Part two, another day in the park. The story starts with a college girl. Her name is Saraswati. Okay. Saraswati committed suicide for failing part one examination. Oh my God. Oh my God. So part one. Oh. So to condole her death, the college was closed that day. Oh, so when students die, then the college gets closed, na? Okay, college was closed that day. Well, while alive, Saraswati had very few friends, and she remained depressed most of the time. You see, other friends of Saraswati are otherwise busy, but Saraswati doesn't have anyone. So she used to be sad generally. So her death was not a matter of concern to her classmates, and they were not at all sorry about the matter. It's really pathetic. First pathetic that the girl committed suicide. Second pathetic thing is that her friends are not at all conscious about this. They are not feeling sorry. But kaisa dunya hai? Okay. Anyways, the boy is soon busy playing cricket. Oh my God. How can they play cricket when such a tragedy happens? But they are playing cricket. Okay. What are the girls doing? They are calling someone. Everyone is calling. Come quickly to the park. The college is closed. Oh, they are calling their boyfriends to come and meet them in the park. दूसरों से मिलने का सब मिलने में सभी बड़ा मस्त है, अपने आप से मिलने का सभी लाइन व्यस्त है. अरे वाह, कभी अपना फोन में अपना नंबर डायल करके देखा? यही बताता है कि इस रूट के सभी लाइन व्यस्त है. मतलब when you are in the phone, you have no opportunity to meet yourself. तो अभी तो टाइम दो अपने लिए. Anyway, so this is the situation. Well, and what is happening then? And they gathered into the park with their boyfriends. Well, lots of young people are there when they are there in the park. These were their ages, young girls and their boyfriends. Oh, one person 54. Oh God, he is the professor once again that day. Unfortunately, the professor was there again. Now, if you compute the average age of these numbers, including 54, it comes out to be 21.8. This value of average is same as that of the previous number when the grandfather came with some grandchildren and one father was there with the daughter. And that average was also 21.8 if you remember, and then we have seen few slides earlier. And here also the average age is 21.8. Okay. Now what Dayashankar, that is what Dayashankar saw. Dayashankar saw the value. He found that it was same as that of the previous day. He was befooled the other day and decides to stay back. That day there was nothing he could find. Today also he thought about 21.8, there will be nothing. Well, let us see then what happens next. So he is once again in his room, aram se waxing his mustache. But in that day in the park, romance was going on in a style of andaz apna apna. What is that andaz apna apna? अपना अपना अंदाज में लोग रोमांस करते हैं. दिस इज प्लूटोनिक टाइप ऑफ लव. दो घड़ी तुम जो पास आ बैठे, हम जमाने से दूर जा बैठे, दो घड़ी तुम जो पास आ बैठे. दिस इज खुल्लम खुल्ला स्टाइल. खुल्लम खुल्ला प्यार करेंगे हम दोनों, इस दुनिया से नहीं डरेंगे हम दोनों. दिस इज ब्लैक मैजिक. हम काले हैं तो क्या हुआ, दिल वाले हैं हम, तेरे 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 चाहने वाले हैं. But then the professor once again see all this. He does not like it at all. There is a home guard. Even then, these things cannot be restricted. ये क्या हो रहा है? And then he writes a letter once again to the authority. And the authority see it once again, and they decide that this is a huge problem. You see, we have recruited one home guard, but a home guard is not doing their work properly. So what is the use of keeping the home guard here? Let us fire him. So accordingly, the next day the home guard was fired. हम छोड़ चले हैं महफिल को, याद आए कभी तो मत रोना. छोड़ चले हैं. And he is telling those taraha. And I was thinking, oh, where is the error? Where is the error? And then I thought, and then I came to this decision. Is the mean sufficient? Where is the standard deviation? Now look at these interesting values. Now this is day 1. Mean is 21.8. Second day mean is 21.8. First day standard deviation is 24.92. Second day standard deviation is 10.33. Now first day most standard deviation indicates that the values are spread far away from the average. That is, it is 21.8, but some senior people will be there, some very young people will be there, and youngsters will be less in number because the standard deviation is more. But if you look at the second data set, the standard deviation is less. It means that there will be little bit of clustering, means the values will be closer to 21.8, either above 21.8 or below 21.8, but will be closer. That means second day will actually have more number of young people than the first day, though their averages are same. That is indicated or characterized by the high value of standard deviation in the first case and low value of standard deviation in the second case. If I would have explained all these things to Mr. Dayashankar Pandey, then he would have understood that second day does not require much of his involvement. Sorry, first day does not require much of his involvement, but the second day does. And he would have gone out searching for such nonsense cases and get many of them. But Dayashankar Pandey would have remained at a guard. But what Dayashankar is doing now, he lost his job, bechara, mera story khatam. But let us see what is Dayashankar doing now. Oh, he became an advocate. Okay. Oh, actually he gave his LLB exam. Result was not declared. At that time he saw the newspaper ad and joined as home guard. But by the time he was terminated, after a few days, result was declared, and then he became a lawyer. Well, and soon he got married also. Okay, that's very good news. And now he often goes to the park. Okay, with his wife, because that is the only park in the town. So घूमने जाना है तो कहाँ जाना है? पार्क में जाना है. तो अभी वाइफ को लेकर वो खुद ही पार्क में जाता है. अब नॉनसेंस कुछ करता है नहीं करता है वो तो पता नहीं. Okay, happy ending. Oh, story has an happy ending also. Well, otherwise it seems bad. Nah, he lost the job. So I gave a happy ending to the story. Okay, fine. Thank you. So story is over. Movie is over. Let us come back. So if you have some questions, don't ask anything about Dayashankar Pandey. Okay. Any questions? Okay. So these are some formula. You can actually try this at home using a data set and do this formula. Some of them we have discussed, like VRP, like that. Okay. And some other things are there when they work, etc. I'll share it with Madam Nitusri Madam. Coefficient of variation. Now you see, one thing is that something is called as a coefficient of variation. It also measured variation. But when variance is a good or standard deviation should be used, and when variation should be used. Standard deviation is used when actually both the data I want to compare or several series I want to compare has the same unit of measurement. Okay. And sometimes suppose I want to compare the variation, then actually there are different units of measurement. So directly we cannot compare them. Like say here we have height and weight. Earlier we could compare because they were all ages in years. So they can be compared very easily. Just 1 second. Okay. Let me take some snacks also. I'm feeling so hungry. Okay. Oh well. So here you see height and width. Now when we calculate the standard deviation, they actually this standard deviation, mean, median, they carry the unit also along with them. Data is in centimeters, average will be in centimeter. Data is in kg, like that. So in that case, the formula is very simple. Coefficient of variation is standard deviation we have to compute, and mean we have to compute and multiply that by 100. For example, in case of height, the mean is, we calculate the mean, it comes out to be 158.5, and the standard deviation comes out to be 9.11. They are all in the same unit of measurement. So sorry. So I calculate the coefficient variation of height. So I have coefficient of variation as 5.74. So this is the formula. For weight, we have mean weight as 57.75 kg and standard deviation is 9.83 kg. If you calculate the CV, then you see CV comes out to be 73.03. This will not have any unit of measurement. Why? Because kg and kg, they are in ratio, so kg and kg will cancel each other. Here also centimeter and centimeter will cancel each other. So this coefficient of variation of height will be an unitary number, and coefficient of variation of weight will also be an unitary number. So now you can compare that. So this is the advantage that you have over the previous case. Earlier they are having different units of measurement if you go by standard deviation. So this is 9.11 centimeters, 9.83 kgs. You cannot compare them directly. Numerically, you cannot compare because one is centimeters, another is kg. So you cannot do that. You have now, you can compare that. What does it mean? That human being, you think that these are live data, human being have more variation in their weight than in their height. In the height, the variation among human being is less, but the variation is more in case of weight. So anything you want to compare, having different units of measurement in the context of their deviation, then this is the way you can do. Deviation means, it is also, deviation means a type of variation in the values, how they change. For example, suppose I am walking with a dog. Now you are considering my walking speed. I come out of my home. I am walking with my dog. Just after coming outside your home, the dog is very excited because it was under chained entire night. Dog is very excited. It wants to run, and I am holding very tight its this one belt, but it is trying to run, and it is to certain extent it is pulling me towards, means to walk faster or making me to walk fast. Well, next it is stopping to reply to its natural call. Well, that is one of the purpose why people take dogs in the morning. So it is replying to its natural call, so it is stopped. So my walking is also stopped. My walking speed is very close to zero or exactly zero. Then now the dog excitement is also over. The natural reply bhi ho gaya. Now it is just loitering. Now I want to walk fast, so I am pulling the dog. Now the dog is, so I am pulling the dog, so some of my energy is going in pulling the dog. I am walking in a pace, but not the brisk walking which I generally do. So my speed is there, but not that to the fullest extent. Now the dog finds his girlfriend. The dog wants to talk to the girlfriend, and I am pulling the dog, but dog is pulling me back. So that way my speed is further decreased. So this means I am not, means my speed is changing every moment. Every few seconds, after every few minutes, my speed is changing. So this walking speed will have more variation. But suppose I am walking, no dog is there, just to get rid of my diabetic. I am sugar levels, to control my sugar levels, I am going for a brisk walk in the morning. So that is, then uniform speed will be there. Variation will be less. It is not a question of how much was the speed, but in that case, variation in the walking speed will be less. So that is what, when you represent a data set, you basically speak about the average, dispersion, and also about the maximum and minimum value. But most importantly, the average and dispersion are both equally important as understood from that particular story. Any question? Because we are leaving the second tambu also, second bamboo also for my tambu. Do you have any other questions? Okay, no. Now comes the relationship. Now, whenever we have two variables, whenever we have values of the two variables coming, then we are more interested to understand that how these variables are related. What is the relationship between them? Here we have the data of age of the rider and speed of the motorcycle, average speed of the motorcycle. That means this is a 16-year-old boy and his average speed is 62 km per hour. With a 22-year person, his average speed, his or her average speed, motorcycle speed is 60 km per hour, like this. That means this is the person, this is his or her average speed, not someone else's, but this. So this data has to be in pair because I require the values of both the variables. That is, I require the values of the age also, and I like the value, require the value of the speed as well. So I have like 16, 62, 22, 16. Now I want to find out that whether age has something to do with the speed of the motorcycle, whether the age of the rider has something to do with the speed of the motorcycle. Let us have a look at it. So what we have, first thing is that we have to draw a diagram that is called as a scatter diagram. So scatter diagram, suppose this is the data set, that data set only, same data set I have for convenience, I have put it in this tabular form. Now, first I draw a line which is called as the x-axis, which is a horizontal line. And then I see what is the minimum age is 16. What is the maximum of 53? Okay, now I have to put some points such that 16 is also covered and 53 is also covered. So I put 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Now all the values will be covered because 16 will be somewhere here and 53 will be somewhere here. Okay. Then I have the vertical axis. So this one is the vertical axis, also called as the y-axis. This side will take the speed and then we see what is the minimum speed. Minimum speed is 30. Okay, and what is the maximum speed? Maximum speed is 62. So in that case, I have 20, 25, 30, 35, 40. Like this, we have 65. So we have many values here. Okay. Now, I'll plot this point 16 and 62. This I'll plot here 16 and 62 is this. So wherever they meet, there I will plot the point 16, 62. That means this 16 and 62. Okay, next point how to plot this. So 22 and so here you find out where is 22 and then draw a hypothetical line, not a line in reality, which will come here, and one horizontal line from this. These are hypothetical lines not drawn in reality. Where they meet, there you put another point. This you can actually understand, means just eye estimation also you can do. So where is 22 and where is 60? Where point they meet, we put it like that. So in this way, we draw all the points. So once we draw all these points, then this gives me a scatter diagram. A scatter diagram can be very easily drawn in Excel. So let us go and draw a scatter diagram in Excel. Here some screenshots are also there, but then let us draw here. So here we come to Excel. So these are the height. Okay, this is the speed and age and speed. So what I do, I go to insert. And then I go for a, okay, I select this data. Then I go here. I think here will be a scatter diagram. Okay, here is the scatter diagram. So you see, I have drawn a scatter diagram. Very simple. Very simple. Once again, I come here. So I select the data first, then I go to insert. Then here are some chart options. Here are some chart options. You can see more chart options also if you click here. Then out of this I want to draw scatter. So there is one small this thing scatter. So I just drew it. So I get the scatter diagram here. This might not be visible to you quite clearly. If you want to change, then you can change also. You click the points and then we have this one. You change the color. Oh, we can change the color. We can change this and then we go to home and then we can make it bold. You can change the color of this. By default, it is gray. So we can make some such things. We may not have this, require this title, then we can delete it. We like grid lines, then we may keep. If you don't like grid lines, then we may delete it. So this way we can make some changes. You see, there is no point in this range. This range, there is no point. But I want to make my graph hara-bhara. I don't want to make it like khali like that. So in that case, what I need to do is that I click on this right click, format axis. It tells that it will start from 0 and go up to 60. But the 0 is not a good option. Make it 10. Lower limit is minimum value is 10. And then you click somewhere outside. Okay, now you see your value. If you look at the graph, it looks little better. And this part is getting engaged, but this part yet to be made in correction. So I want to change the y-axis, right click, format axis, I make it 20 and 70 and click somewhere outside. Now you see adjustment is there, graph looks much better. Okay, now you see it's good. It's starting from, if you want to make that no further khali is there, so okay, then you can go with 25 also. So these are, you just play with it. Then x-axis, y-axis is not visible. You can make some changes like format axis. Then you go here, line option, axis options. Tick mark level number. Here line. So in the line is gray and it's 0.75. Increase its value 0.15 and make the line as, and this one, where is the color? This is the color. It's gray, make it black. Now you see it will be more visible. So this way you can make slight changes. You just play with it, and then if you write the no, this one also I don't like. Okay, you make it red. Red is generally very much visible. And that's why ऐसा नहीं कि red मुझे बहुत पसंद है, but red makes it visible. So you can make it visible like that. So this way you can make changes in this graph, and this is how you draw the scatter diagram. Now looking at the scatter diagram, what is the interpretation? You see the points are starting at the top and coming down like this. There is a motion of coming down. This means there is a negative relationship between this side is my age, this side is speed. This indicates there is a negative relationship between this. If the points would start here and go up like this, the reverse, then that means a positive relationship. Here it indicates the negative relationship. What is the meaning of negative relationship? Negative relationship means that if the value of x increases, the value of y decreases, and vice versa. That means if the value of x increases, y will decrease. That means if age increases, speed will decrease. What is the meaning? It means that if the age of the motorcycle rider is more, he or she will drive at a lesser speed. But if the age of the motorcycle driver is less, he or she will have a tendency to drive fast. So this is the issue of this particular problem. So that is how we are actually working with this. Okay. Now we come to the concept of correlation coefficient. So this is through scatter diagram. This is a diagram. Diagrams gives an appropriate, approximate understanding of the matter, but not so much. So, okay, so these are the scatter diagram of the data set that we just show. Next, now comes correlation. Correlation actually it helps us to understand the relationship between two variables, that is x and y. Say whatever speed and age, whatever. It helps us to understand the relationship. It was developed by a British biometrician, Carl Pearson. So Carl Pearson is a British biometrician. He is He was not always like this. In his younger days, he was quite handsome, as you can see here. But then he lost his hair. This happens with all statistics and mathematics teachers, that they lose their hair because difficult subject. So anyway, so he developed this correlation coefficient. So what is the interpretation of correlation coefficient? Correlation coefficient lies between -1 and +1. If it is towards +1, the correlation is positive and it is high. It means that if one variable increases, the value of the other variable also increases or supposed to increase. If the correlation is negative and towards -1, close to -1, like say -0.8, -0.9, -0.85, in that case, it means that if the value of x increases or value of age increases, then the value of speed decreases. So that is an example where correlation is negative. That is also characterized by the corresponding scatter diagram. So formula is little bit complicated, but the thing is that we don't need to touch the formula because all efforts will be done by some software. Here is some interpretation which I told you. If the correlation is 0, the variables are not having correlation. Does not mean that they are independent of each other. And correlation 0 from either side. So this is actually it might be close to 0 from either side. So that is a possibility. So let us take the example of road rash. 12 motorcycle riders and their average speed of driving are as follows. We have already seen the data set. This. And then we calculate the correlation coefficient. So let us go to Excel and see how we can compute the correlation coefficient of this. So this is okay. Let us delete this graph. Graph deleted. Okay. Now we want to calculate the correlation of these two, age and speed. So I come to an Excel. I go to a blank cell, and there I write CORREL, Coral, and then give the bracket. In this bracket, I write these values, and then I give comma. And then I write these values. Okay, so it's 2-column entry. Don't forget to give the comma in between. Once you give the comma and then you press enter, now you get the value of the correlation coefficient. Let us make it bold. So this is -7.28. It is quite close to -1, though not very close, but quite close to -1. And the value is negative also. It indicates that if age increases, speed will decrease, and that's why the correlation is negative. So this is how we understand about correlation coefficient. That means value between two variables. Okay, any question related to this? Similarly, this is another example of relation between height and weight. If you compute this using Excel or whatever, you find that the correlation is 0.6551. 0.6551. So this is a positive correlation coefficient. It means that the values x and y, that means weight and height, they are positively related with each other. Actually, what happens when the height of an individual increases or more height, a person with more height has longer bones, and longer bones have more weight, means bones have more weight than flesh. So a person generally whose height is more will have more weight also compared to a more stout or robust individual of less height. It means one is say दुबला पतला सा पर लंबा है, दूसरा की मोटा है पर उसमें जो है height is less. Okay. You calculate the weight, means when you look you will feel that the person with who is having more flesh, more मोटा सा है, उसका weight ज़्यादा होगा. But when you take the weight, you will find that person who is tall will have more weight, because that tall person has more bones in his body. Means not more bones, means length of the bones are more. So accordingly, the weight will be more. So this is how positive correlation, and this is how we interpret a positive correlation. This is an example also. Height and weight are positively related. Age and speed of the motor car, generally negative relationship, because you will find that the senior people, they drive slowly. Youngsters, they drive at a high speed. Okay. Any question related to this? No? Okay. Then comes, and the last of the day is a rank correlation coefficient. The rank correlation coefficient was developed by a gentleman called Spearman. Now, Spearman found that sometimes some data are expressed in terms of rank, like say honesty and sincerity. Now with these days, because of a lot of marketing research take place, many things we need to measure which cannot be directly measured. For example, say simple example, say beauty. Now, how can you measure beauty? Is there any way you can measure beauty? Because Shakespeare told that beauty lies in the eye of the beholder. That means जो देखा उसको अच्छा लगा तो अच्छा है. But things cannot go in this way. If you see or watch any beauty competition, you will find that they are giving scores on beauty. The judges are giving scores on beauty, and then we ultimately get a winner also. Now the person who wins the contest may not be the beautiful person, may not be the most beautiful person of that group. As per these judges and the parameters under which they consider she might be, means judges must have given a mark, but this is a subjective way, isn't it? Because you may not, another person may not. Now you find that to avoid subjectivity, you will find, if you watch carefully this beauty contest, you will find that a lot of judges are there, not 2 or 3 judges, but at least 10 judges are there who are giving marks. Why? Because if there is some biasness, if there is subjectivity, because of large number, they will get eliminated. किसी का subjectivity है, उसको wisdom teeth वाला लड़की ज़्यादा अच्छा लगता है. So when the girl comes and smiles, he gives more marks. But others don't feel it like this, so things will be neutralized. So that's why more number of judges. Now, so beauty is quantified. For example, marketing research, you will find that they are measuring satisfaction level, they are measuring attitude towards a product or towards a service. Now, if these things are attitude are also measured, because the need of the hour is like that. Now, whenever you measure something for which there is no universal scale bole to thermometer, barometer. That means some machines are there for measuring. So there is a universal acceptance, there is a fixed value. Even salary, income, savings, these are also fixed values. Why? Because you can get the exact value. What is your salary? What amount is realized in the bank? That is your salary. Well, you may get some data, means other parts, maybe there are some investment, etc., which are salary deducted. I am not speaking about that. How much savings? We can find out how much savings are there. So these are numerical values. Distance from one place to another, it can be measured. So many things are there which are directly measurable or can be measured. But some things are there which are not directly measurable, like sincerity, honesty, beauty. In such cases, we use some auxiliary method to measure them. For example, suppose 2 products are there. One interesting example I read once, that you want to compare, that one person you ask, which one do you like, Coke or Pepsi? Coca-Cola or Pepsi-Cola? Which one you like? Both both black color drink. Both have means somewhat similarities, but they can be they are different. Means you can differentiate between them, though their physical appearance is quite similar. Now both of them are say priced at 20 rupees. Now one person, respondent is telling that I like Coke. What is the price of Coke? 20 rupees. What is the price of Pepsi? 20 rupees. Okay. Now I tell him, if instead of 20 rupees, Coke price increases to 22 and Pepsi remains at 20, then which one will you prefer? He tells that no, even then I will go with Coke. Okay. Now Coke price increases to 24, Pepsi remains at 20. Now which one will you prefer? He tells that no, I still will prefer Coke till 25 rupees. If it increases more than 25, then I will come back to and drink Pepsi. That means his love for Coke over Pepsi is 5 units only, 5 units of money. So that much is his preference or preference. So these are some auxiliary methods of measuring things. Now when you do this, because tomorrow he may have a different opinion also. So okay. So now these things, whenever we have such type of data, for example, in the exam you get some marks. These marks is what? This marks is on your knowledge or intelligence about that particular paper. So this is a subjective thing. Question changes, marks might change. Also examiner changes, same question, same answer, marks might change. Isn't it? So these are subjective things. So when you are measuring something subjective, where there is no uniform scale of measurement or apparatus of measurement, तो तुम्हारा कितना सिंसियरली तुम लेक्चर सुन रहे हो, इसके लिए कोई थर्मोमीटर नहीं है मेरे पास जो तुम्हारा बगल में लगा देने से मुझे पता चल जाए हाउ सिंसियर यू आर in attending my lecture. So there is nothing like that. So I have to use some auxiliary means. When measures comes from these auxiliary means, and when I want to find the relationship between two variables, either both or one of which comes from an auxiliary measurement, then we use rank correlation coefficient. So rank correlation, for example, here this is the formula. We'll see how to compute this, because unfortunately this formula or calculating rank correlation is not available in Excel. So suppose this is a score on beauty. Okay, 10 ladies are there. This is their score on beauty. X represents beauty. And then I have taken some tests to understand their intelligence. So these are their intelligence scores. You see, they are in different ranges. One is in, I think, from 0 to 10. Another is from 0 to 100 maybe, because these are the scores. Okay. Now, how I will calculate the correlation coefficient? What will do rank correlation coefficient? First, I will find the rank, who is maximum 9.6. So rank is 1 for X. Who is in the next second one? Second one is 8.8. So this is rank 2. Like that, we get the rank maximum to minimum. Okay. And similarly, I rank these also. But out of this, who is the maximum? Maximum is, there is a typo. Let me correct this. So that score maximum is, I think, 81. So 81 is rank 1. Then next is, I think, 77. Okay. Rank 2. Then I think 73. That is rank 3. No, there is an error. 76 should be rank 3, and this 73 should be rank 4. Okay. Okay. So these are some typo. Doesn't matter. Okay. So I have their ranks like this. Now what I do is that I compute next stage the difference in the ranks. So 7 minus 6, 1. So these values will change a little bit. 6 minus 7 minus 1, like this we change. We compute the difference of the ranks. Once we compute the difference of the ranks, then we compute the square of this. 1 becomes 1 square is 1, minus 1 square is 1, 1 square is 1, like that we go on. This is minus 2 square is 4, and calculate the sum of last column, that is di square. That we represent in the formula. Formula is very simple: 1 minus 6 summation di square. So that is 12. N into n square minus 1, n is the number of pairs. So this is 10 and this is 10 square, that is 100. So I have 99 here, I have 10 here, and then I have the numerator and 6. If you compute this counts out to be point plus 0.98. This in cases it can be minus also, but in our case it is plus 0.98. So the rank correlation can be interpreted in the same fashion as that of the Carl-Pearson correlation. That means this is positive and this is high, so there is a high relation or correlation between intelligence and beauty. So whoever is intelligent is expected to be beautiful also, and vice versa. So this is how we calculate the rank correlation coefficient. So this is what I was to actually conclude, means measure. So we had erected the 3 bamboos of our tent, that is measure of central tendency, measure of dispersion, and relationship studied through correlation and rank correlation. So this completes a vicious circle. But if you are more interested or find that this lecture is something very basic, which is not your cup of tea, and you did not learn anything from this lecture, then it might happen with you if you are already having some taste of data analysis, then I would recommend that you should take a full 5-day course anywhere it happens. It keeps on happening. Full 5-day course on data analysis, so that you can actually get the glimpse of all different directions of data analysis, starting from multivariate analysis like factor analysis, cluster analysis, then discriminant analysis, and then structured equation modeling, which explains or goes deep with the help of those who are collecting data through Likert scale, etc. You can go into deep, but for that you please take a course on 5-day course on data analysis happening somewhere in and around, online or offline, whatever. But I feel offline workshops are always more effective. Well, with these words, I would like to conclude. Fir miloge kabhi is baat ka wada kar lo. Okay, thank you. So over to any questions, please.
Sir, can you please share your email ID, sir?
Okay, email ID. So I think it is there in my first slide. No. Yeah, no, in my first slide it is not there. Generally, it is always there in my first slide. Anyways, so you may note down. So you can now write in the chat box also, and if you have some questions, you may also ask me.
Sir, is it djb.stat@gmail.com, sir?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, sir.
The platform is now open for discussion. Participants having any queries can kindly put forward their queries for our esteemed resource person.
I think there is no question. Sir has explained so nicely. Sir has presented his experience and has shared his knowledge with us that there is no doubt. So thank you very much, sir, for your wonderful
Thank you.
session. You have yes, sir.
If there is any question in the chat box, is it there?
Okay, let me check, sir. No, sir, there is no question.
Okay. You may thank me, that those who are writing in the chat box. Okay.
Thank you, sir, for your presentation. You have traveled whole day and still we have led the session with so much energy. That's truly inspiring for me. Thank you, sir.
No, actually it is very cold. I could not find the centralized AC. It is so cold in the room. So I could not find out where is the remote and all. So that is the issue. Otherwise, so it's okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks
Thank
to
you,
all
sir.
the participants. I expected that there would have been more questions because we are discussing very simple things. So you could have asked me more questions. Anyway, so two cases when people don't ask question. Either they have not understood anything or they have understood everything. So I don't
No,
know.
sir, they have understood, sir.
Okay.
Mr. Saurav, please
Yes.
conclude the
Gaurav will give the vote of thanks. Yeah.
Yes, I would like to express my heartfelt gratitude on behalf of the organizing committee to Honorable Professor Dibyajyoti Bhattacharjee sir for his futile explanations. His deliberation and inspiring words has led us towards this path of data analysis, and he has really explained on a grounded level, and it became very easy and very inspiring for all of us to hear his words along with his inspiring presentation. I would hope that our participants are deeply inspired by his deliberation, and we will always be in touch with sir to take his guidance in our way forward. And I hope that this deliberation will be a good addition to our future academic and research pursuits for propagation of knowledge. Once again, thank you so much, sir, for your valuable time in inspiring all of us this evening. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.